So folks, we are in the middle of the ocean. In the middle of the ocean. There's a shallow part in the middle of the ocean in Tobago. And this is our boat we chartered for our trip. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please enjoy my Tobago trip. Let me know what you think in the comment section. We're visiting Nylon Pool, No Man's Land, and much more. Enjoy. So today we're doing a tour of a boat reef tour, and we are docking at Pigeon Point in Tobago. So ahead of me, the boat is right there. It's called Frankie Tours, FrankieToursTT.com. And look how crystal clear that water is. And this is the jetty. The young man's cleaning off the benches that's on the jetty. This is such a beautiful beach. I love this beach. It's my kind of beach. I love it here. I've been waiting for this day. This is the most exciting part for me because I just love being on the beach. It's my favorite things to do. Stay tuned for a great adventure. Unfortunately, my GoPro got messed up, so I won't be able to do any underwater shots, but I'll try to do the best I can with what I'm working with. Look at the cute baby. Good morning. Yeah.
They're like memories
Yes.
for me of this.
Yes. Yep.
THIS and concealed spirit.
Yeah. This is one of the shops that's located in the park. I'm calling it a park because we had to come through. And it was a park, actually, is what they're calling it, and pay an entrance fee. It is $20 TT, $3 US to enter into this section in Pigeon Point, Tobago. And I can tell why we're paying, because you need to pay people to upkeep the property. So it is actually a very, very good price. $20 TT, $3 US. They have a lot of shops that's located on the property. So if you forgot your swimsuit, you can purchase a swimsuit. If you forgot your water shoes or any type of water accessories, you can purchase it here from these shops. What is this, an almond tree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone is.
to head out to see, get a tour of the reef.
Charlie, you want water?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she just did that. I literally turned around and she just took
You're fine.
I'm going to be one of your captains and tour guides today. And some young man in the back there, that is Dale, right? And upstairs we have Shai. The two of us will be here to make sure that this experience is a memorable one, right? In all the good ways, right? That being said, I just come to brief you guys on everything we have in store for you, right? We have quite a few stops today. Because this is a charter trip, you guys will have a lot of say over how long we spend at each location, stuff like that, right? That being said, the available stops today will be the Coral Garden, which is only 5 minutes away. And because it's only 5 minutes away, I would strongly suggest we hit the Coral Garden first, right? I know somebody mentioned no man's land is very important, right? And we don't want no shortage on the no man's land situation. So how we could deal with that? Yes, we could go to no man's land immediately after the Coral Garden and then go to Nylon Pool. But it will end up shorting you on the amount of time you stay on the spot by about 15 minutes. The reason for that being, no man's land is the furthest point from here. Right? The natural shortest distance which party wouldn't be spending more than 5, 6, 7 minutes. They say 7 minutes on average from spot to spot would be Coral Garden, Nylon Pool, no man's land. What you guys could do, right? Because we left a little late, but we still have a good 2 hours, right? Before the 11 a.m. trip that we do, right? What you guys could do is you could time yourselves, right? So if you realize, you know to yourself, you are a good half hour by no man's land, you time yourself and they say, Leroy, we don't want to be here much longer than we are. We want to move from here one time. You guys need to meet at no man's land. So that is no man's land, I don't think that you can. That will take 15 minutes. So what to do?
Let him chat, please.
Alright, so 1 minute chat. So that means you need at least 40 minutes at no man's land, right? Let me ask a question. Between the Coral Garden and Nylon Pool, which one is more important to you guys?
Nylon Pool. Nylon Pool.
Watching the same thing over and over. We do 7 minutes in the Coral Garden.
Yeah.
When we get to the Nylon Pool, we make sure we leave the Nylon Pool by 10 a.m. Right? So that by the time we get to no man's land, it will be 10 past 10, which will give you guys almost 50 minutes. And then it will be easy now. Right? Because we won't be coming. Yeah, it will be easy now to bring it back to Pigeon point easily. That sounds like a good plan for everybody. That way we get it all at the time. at no man's land.
Yes.
You don't get too exhausted.
Right.
So I know that is the main concern. You don't want to get too exhausted, etc. Right? If by chance you have any other doctor, every sister, every support, going with you, anybody didn't get to come and how they can get on, etc. Yeah, and I'll talk to you about how that should be handled if that is the case, right? So yeah, that's basically what we're doing, right? Other than that, there's a toilet facility directly underneath the stairs, right? If you're using the toilet, it's pump action to flush. Right? Simple as that. If you're having any difficulty, just let me know. I'm going to take care of it for you, right? Upstairs, we might be playing on the music. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yes, put on the music.
Right? We might be playing on the music. To check up on how well the music working, etc.
Swear to God, human beings.
No problem, no problem. Right? In terms of
You need plugs for them.
They're earplugs for the seniors.
No, we need to listen up, please.
Up to 75 persons, I don't think we need all that. Right? We've never had any incident whereby we need it at all. Right? But the life jackets are located right in front. You see that small door there?
Yeah.
Just open and the life jackets in, right? And we just do that in an orderly manner. The emergency exits are extremely easy to find, right? Show them the emergency exit. So that more or less covers it. Anything else you guys need to know? Just talk to me. Right now we're passing through a little channel because it's really shallow on both sides here. So that's why we're moving a little slow. As soon as you get out of here, if you look underneath the glass, you will see it's less than 2 feet of water underneath the glass there. So as soon as you get out, you'll see it start to get deep within less than a minute. Right? You should be getting to the coral garden very soon after that, and then we have a quick discussion before going over to the Nylon Pool and the special. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So, we have couple.
Alright guys, upstairs,
Just know you said the normal way upstairs, downstairs.
We're going to be shifting and viewing really nice views upstairs. It's not you got the game upstairs or the all for the part of the show. That's it.
Alright, let me just show you. Don't forget that it is a French angel almost certainly. It could see you just as well as you could see.
That's why it's not the way.
Yeah, because it's scared it.
It's not afraid of you. It's old enough to know that you don't pose at your tail. Right? But at the same time,
Oh my gosh.
you're pointing at it, remember it has spear fishermen and you may be afraid to this. Even though this area is illegal for fishing or any removal of anything, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we just reached the coral garden segment of the Buccoo Reef, right? This is which part you'll see all those corals, etc. A lot of people look at the corals, they think they're looking at stones. Some people look at the corals, they think they're looking at plants, right? Depending on which particular species of coral they're looking at. If you think it's stones or plants, you're incorrect in both cases. You're actually looking at some animals called polyps. Polyps are vaguely related to jellyfish, and the large colonies that polyps live in are what you call the corals right here. Different species of polyps create different types of corals. The main type of coral you would find here, or in any other coral garden anywhere near the equator, would be the hard corals. And the specific species that you see in here right now is called the mountainous stone star coral. Right? Hard corals, the reason you find them a lot in these hot areas near the equator is because the hard corals are not very mobile. The polyps that form it, they do have some degree of mobility in all the corals, but they're not very mobile in the case of the hard coral, the way the colonies are built. And so what they do, they live off of algae. When you see that greenish color is not the color of the animal. The polyp is actually an algae that lives underneath the polyp. The polyp is actually transparent, right? And that algae being a plant organism, it depends on sunlight in order to absorb food the way any plant would be absorbing food through the process of photosynthesis, right? And so now we've introduced to mountainous stones. That's those corals that look kind of like potatoes right there. But you'll notice, especially now that we're drifting into deeper areas, you start seeing some corals that don't look like stones, don't look like potatoes, like we saw a couple waving ones a little bit there. But I'm not going to talk about it until we see a little bit more. You guys notice that white thing that we see now that the water get a little bit deeper? You all know what that's called? That's correct, right? Hey, look at crab.
Oh, yeah.
That is not a common sighting out here. Now, the sand that you're seeing here is not regular sand, right? These polyps that I told you about, they're omnivorous. They eat both plants and animals. Just about anything smaller than them, they're going to eat, right? And so, usually when they eat, they excrete something, right? Just like human beings and other animals. In the case of those animals called polyps, what they excrete is calcium carbonate, which is the scientific name for limestone, right? So that's limestone you see in here. The molecular structure of limestone is such that it breaks down really, really fine to the point it becomes that exfoliant. So that's why when you go to the nylon pool, most likely you will have the nylon pool for yourself. But if you go to other people, you see people rubbing the sand on the skin, it's because it's an exfoliant right there, right? Now, he's driving a little bit fast because he's trying to get into an area which probably will be able to drift and see a little bit more, right? But in the meantime, in between time, see those muscle ones with the white tips we just went over there? That's another example of a hard coral. Now, I just mentioned to you all that they excrete calcium carbonate or limestone, but that's not the only thing they excrete. They also excrete different toxins depending on the different type of polyp that you have, creating the different type of coral, right? But that toxin does not negatively affect human beings in any of the different corals except with those muscle ones with the white tips that we saw a little earlier. They excrete such a toxin that if ever you was out there snorkeling or anything, if ever you see those guys in the future, you want to touch those guys, if you have to touch them at all with the inside of the palm of your hands or the soles of your feet, or else you'll have a burning sensation to deal with for quite a bit of time. Look at a couple of them right there. Mustard ones with the white tips. Those are called the fire coral. Now you see this tube-like one we just went over? Yeah. Those are the first example of soft corals that we have out here. Soft corals do not depend heavily on algae. They will eat just about anything zooplankton, anything smaller than them, right? But in the case of those soft corals, they are also not as mobile as some other soft corals. So what they do, they work as a filter. So every single day, each of those tube corals you see here will suck in on average about 5 gallons of water, and they live off of all the nutrients in that water and then spit it out. So it's kind of like a filter system out here. We've been seeing a lot more of them since the COVID-19 restrictions were lifted, but since then we've seen a reduction in them. Now you see these ones that really look like plants that was waving back and forth this year? Right, they're called the sea begonia, another example of a soft coral, right? Now in the case of the sea begonia, as you can see, they're very mobile. They do drift with the current of the water, the breeze, everything, but they also have a degree of self-mobility. And so when you see them, okay, let me get this
What
one.
the poet thing was, that's new to me.
The one on board. Oh, what specifically is new to you? You just want me to tell you the history of how.
Yes.
Right, so
When it came about.
previous to 1960s, early 1960s, people never used to come out here regularly because they didn't have glass bottom boats, and as you can imagine, they play in a period. This is not a very interesting situation, right? However, in the early 1960s, Princess Margaret, right, she came out here and a couple other Southern Caribbean islands to visit for her honeymoon, and she wanted to do a little fishing tour. And so they came out here, and at that time, it still happens today that when the tide is low enough, some parts of the Nylon Pool is higher than the water itself. So you form like a little island out there. And so she came out there, yeah, she came out there and she friends was dancing, etc. out there. They came out with a man by the name of Anthony. I don't know what you remember his full name. I remember his full name just now, right? But they came out with a man by the name of Anthony, and his staff on a fishing boat. They saw it there, and they decided, hey, this is a nice place to have a little picnic and to dance and stuff. And she would have taken off her nylon stockings because, as I would have mentioned to you, the sand is calcium carbonate. Sometimes that coral's still there to rip the nylon stockings. She took it off and the water was so clear she wasn't able to find it again because it it was the same color as the nylon stocking, since they call it the nylon pool, right? And then they come to fish here now. Now, at that time it wasn't protected because I mentioned to you guys before, it was the 1970 Marine Preservation and Enhancement Act. So them times they could have fished here, but fishermen didn't like fishing here because, as I mentioned to you, it's only small fish. But when she came out here, she realized, wait, it even have areas which part you could walk around, etc. If you snorkel it with different shades and come back, don't point at it. You remember, you could see you just as well as you could see it, right? And so it became apparent to Mr. Anthony at that point, right, that this coral garden area could be a whole tourism situation. And so you'd often hear other tour guys say that Mr. Anthony discovered the reef. That is not an accurate statement, but he discovered the economic and tourism aspect of the reef. And really, yeah, he popularized it, etc. Right? And so that is how we end up having in this area. And of course, the Bonaparte Lagoon is separated by no man's land. No man's land separating it with the mangrove trees, etc. The lagoon is not entirely salt water, it's salt and fresh water mix, right? And no man's land is where it is, etc. And so that creates a nice dynamic. And as a matter of fact, we do bioluminescent stores in the Bonaparte Lagoon because there's another animal called a dinoflagellate, which is a type of plankton, right? Zooplankton that does light up, it creates its own light, etc. So we have the light show in the Bonaparte Lagoon. That was something not a people were too knowledgeable about, but the owner of this boat and myself, we started to popularize it because I learned exactly how it works, etc. To the point which part almost on a daily basis we could go out and see what the bioluminescence show, right, with the dinoflagellates is all about. So that is a little bit about the history as to how things work out here. Any other questions before you head over to the Nylon Pool?
Like how you call it the corals, right?
Yes.
There's no local name like the fire corals.
Right. The scientific name for the fire coral I do not know, right? Mountainous stone stud, why no I don't know the scientific names of none of those corals. I always know the local names, which is the fire coral, the brain coral. We haven't seen any brain coral here, but it's basically like the mountainous stone star coral, right? Which is called the potato coral. So I guess mountainous stone star is the proper scientific. Don't some too colorful corals, right? Two reasons you're not seeing them as much, right? Main reason being, in those areas where you used to see those very colorful corals, the most colorful corals are generally speaking, you're looking at the soft corals, right? They were in areas that were so shallow that people, you remember I tell you Princess Margaret realized they could come out and walk around. I think people were walking and trampling on them, etc. So we limit the amount of places we go. So that is one of the reasons you don't see them here. And also, like I mentioned before, most of the corals here, will be the hard corals which are not as colorful, right? And there has been some damage of the coral reef. The damage of the coral reef took place mainly as a result of the ice caps, North Pole, South Pole, Greenland, etc. melting. And the reason they would have been melting is because when the Industrial Revolution would have begun, when human beings start inventing things like air sprays, refrigeration systems, etc. We didn't know, but we were creating some chemicals called CFCs. CFCs cause damage to the ozone layer. The ozone layer is an area of gas above the earth that protects us from sunlight in its most dangerous forms, right? Most dangerous form are rays, etc. But then we discovered people started getting cancer a little more often. The ice caps start melting, the water start getting deeper, destroying most of the coral gardens around this area here. The good news is, however, that once they discovered that, the human race will turn out to be a lot more socially aware and responsible than some people give us credit for, because all the nations of the earth would have agreed not to make CFCs anymore, and as a result, we haven't been making CFCs anymore, so the depletion of the ozone layer isn't happening at the rate it used to happen. And even better news, scientists have been working on developing something called superpolyps, which create supercorals, and supercorals will be able to deal with changing
Have we got areas where they've still got colored corals then?
Yeah, we do.
We still have some?
Yes, we do. And also some of the other coral gardens, like there's one called the Emerald Reef, right? That is closer to Castara there, which part is the way more colorful, but it's a much smaller garden. But you wouldn't see glass bottom boats going there because it's more or less in the open waters kind of situation. And open waters, as you can see, this boat has a flat bottom. You don't want to go in the open waters with a flat bottom boat. You need that shape right there. You could be a great tour guide, you understand everything before you even sing. You need that triangle type finish to be able to cut through the water when you create this at ease, etc. So anytime you want to see more colorful coral glass beside this, you'll have to go there via a pirogue or a catamaran, etc. Right? Come again? Yeah, we do tours doing that. Called the coastal tour, which part is up along the Caribbean seaside and the islands. All the way sometimes with Castara, on the rarest location of Montego, the entire length of the island. Also, so you get to the King San Beach and Charlottesville on the other end of the island, right? So, guys, ready to go to the Nylon Pool now? We have one or two more questions, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, lovely. We go to the Nylon Pool now.
I don't know why Princess Margaret wasn't stuck in
We are on the Coral Reef tour. We just finished watching the reef and now we are on our way to Nylon Pool. And in Nylon Pool, it's like in the middle of the ocean and you can literally swim. So it's a shallow part that is in the middle of the ocean that we can get off the boat and go swimming or whatever you feel like doing. And as the tour guide was stating, there's like some sand down there that is like really good for your skin, so you can use it to exfoliate. So take a look at the oceans, guys. Alright, so we arrived at Nylon Pool. The shallow waters that's in the middle of the ocean. And here we go. It is so shallow, the boat is actually touching the sand. We'll be out soon. 100 TT per person? Okay. Alright, cool. I want to do it.
Depending on how far you want to go, you have to hold open for yourself.
Okay, cool.
Yes. You want to go, mommy?
My son, when he comes down. I want you to take him.
Yes.
Anybody interested in going on a
Everest,
jet?
but they will have a time limit, okay?
No, daddy, that's not. We have
No
time.
time for you, but your time for us.
No, it's our time for the court here. Yeah, that's time.
I guess it's something back or something.
And your son upstairs,
Both of
mommy?
you are
Yeah.
just that you're going to kill your time, right?
No, they come in and we just say,
You going on a jet ski too? Are you going on a jet ski? No. sorry, sorry. I cannot. Oh, I can step up with my camera. Ryan! Ryan!
Rosie, don't forget.
Yeah, playing the volleyball. Next thing.
Okay.
Okay, remember it's 20 minutes, right?
So folks, we are in the middle of the ocean. In the middle of the ocean. There's a shallow part in the middle of the ocean in Tobago. And this is our boat we chartered for our trip, our tour. There's music on the boat. We ate. My son is over there and then on the jet ski. So So this is the shallow, like I keep saying, I can't stop saying it. I cannot believe that's how amazing this is. The shallow parts of the water. Like we're in the middle of the ocean. What? Are you kidding me? Love it. Yes. Yes, and I don't care about the day. Because I'm happy. Stop singing because every time I sing and then I play back my videos, I'm like, oh my god, girl, why are you singing? It's online, a company called DJI. Go back, let me take a picture of you. Wait. It's done? You don't get to drive it yourself, at least? No? Oh, no. Just him. I have no idea. Just him. I thought so too. It's over? Ooh, this is so nice.
Oh, you didn't want to?
He didn't want to.
Come on, Emrys, you can do it.
Well, go get the money for him.
You need help?
In mommy's bag. And make sure you cover it. It's in mommy's bag, right? Yeah. Mommy's coming. I don't know, maybe. So ahead of me right there, you'll see this gentleman. He's standing on sand. And this is all part of Nylon Pool. It's an extension. That should show how far out you can walk in this section. And we are, once again, like I said, in the middle of the ocean. And look how far out we are. Look how far out. Best thing ever. And it might be somebody by accident. Because of the 365 per
Them cold water, that's good.
I rubbed it in my hand. So, because we have coral in it.
Yeah, I did rub my
You can rub all the body because I have on my swim.
I rub my arms.
if you put it on your face. Oh, because of the sunscreen.
Because we still have coral. Rub it on my hand and my hand. Exfoliate my hand.
I should exfoliate mine. I gotta put my camera inside.
This does too.
This is amazing. This is so amazing. I'd have never thought in life that I would have been able to be standing on top of water in the middle of the ocean.
The price didn't go up though, because for the last 5 years when we came here, it was $100.
To build a hotel here, and as I mentioned to you, also the 1970 Preservation and Enhancement Act, Marine Preservation and Enhancement Act, protects no man's land, the lagoon, and the coral reef area. So, to keep the people educated all the time as our rights here is concerned, hence the name No Man's Land. We're going to be here for the rest of the tour before you guys ready to go back to Pigeon Point. So come walk, enjoy yourself. I know you really want to do some things and whatnot have you.
Yeah.
And listen out for when we tell you to come back on the boat, right?
Oh, wait.
Welcome!
So this is no man's land, as the tour guide was saying. This land is secured, is preserved, cannot be sold to anyone. He was stating that Sandals tried to buy it so they can build a hotel on here, and that was shut down quickly. So the little eateries are closed today. Womp womp womp. I was really looking forward to getting some bacon shark, but unfortunately not today. So this part of the island, the one side is the ocean, and then one side is like a lagoon, sort of like a river. So it's cold here and then warm over this side. Yeah, it's a little polluted right here. Yeah. It's not for bathing.
Yeah, it's no man's land.
Oh, they do rafting. Don't go further, Cheryl. It's sending things on this side. You have to go over, yeah. Go straight ahead. I'm gonna walk this way. Yeah, right here is dirty.
That's like a face.
Yeah. All right, so we're heading back on the boat, saying goodbye to No Man's Land. It was fun. Yeah, we could have.
You know, we didn't even do anything to the last like this. We could have one tonight. Tell the mangrove sticks. Leroy and Turtles are out now. And Turtles watching is not in August.
Yeah. Between March and then that August, July. So right now, right now the turtles gonna be going back out. Only the eggs earlier, the mothers would have come and lay the eggs. Right now, almost every day, right? You could go down to the beach and they will do a releasing of all the baby turtles into the sea. Around 7 o'clock.
In the night?
Yeah, if you want, I could send the number for the guy who in charge of that to Emirates and all. You could talk to Emirates so you could see tonight and all.
But we might see no big turtles.
You don't see occasional big turtles still, but what you're guaranteed to see is the baby turtles going back out to sea.
Yeah, we'd love to see them. Yeah.
Yeah, send on the we just got to the turtles tonight.
Boat. Say hi, Captain.
Your turn, man.
Yeah, he's gonna put the new channel. Because apparently this is the first time that the the lagoon land has ever been so far out. So the media is coming to record it, to do a piece on it. So you hear that, people? This is history, groundbreaking history. This is the first time in history that the lagoon, the sand has been so far out into shore. Normally it ends at the tip there and have an extended amount of sand. So I can definitely say that I was able to walk on a part of history, or be a part of history, because this is the first time. Today is the discovery of the extended amount of land that is at the lagoon in Tobago.
Are you gonna swim?
Oh. Thank you so much for joining my interview series on my YouTube channel. Do you mind telling us your name, please?
My name is Blessed Hands Massage Therapy. I'm David Benjamin, the CEO of Blessed Hands Massage Therapy.
All right, great. So how long have you been massaging? Being a masseuse, actually?
3 years professionally, and about, in all, let's say it's about 6 years.
Okay.
Because I started doing it home first, and then I was inspired by parents and aunts and the elders in the family. They encouraged me to finish that.
Because they figured that you had some blessed hands.
Yes.
So that was, we talked about your inspiration. So can you think of anything else that inspired you to become a masseuse?
The love of people, healing people, seeing people smile, leaving better than they came.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what inspired me.
So what do you feel about your experience today with the family reunion?
It was great. I feel like I'm home because Tobago is home for me.
Okay, good. And so you originally are practicing in Tobago?
No, I practice in Trinidad.
Oh.
Practice in Trinidad, but
okay.
So to speak, my neighbor's string is buried in Tobago because the love that I get from Tobago people is different. It's different.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that was good of you to come over to Tobago to serve these wonderful persons here.
Yeah.
Right, I did not know that you came from Trinidad.
Yeah.
Okay, so you traveled when, today or yesterday?
Today.
Today?
This morning, actually, yeah.
Oh, this
At a
morning?
7:30 flight.
Oh, flight, wow. And when do you leave?
I leave 9:45 tomorrow.
Oh,
PM.
These folks
Have
here
more
should be
time with
blessed and happy. And he traveled from Trinidad, just from a flight, just to come over. Yeah, this is great. Good, good, good. So, what are the best things about your job, or that you would say? What do you feel is the best part of your job?
Well, I do a proper assessment first to see if there can be administered therapy.
Okay.
And then I will do my best job to the best of my ability to ensure that they leave better than they came.
All right, great. So, what advice would you have for someone, just like on a daily type of therapy, that they would have to do at home until they come and be serviced by blessed hands?
Okay. I would say stretch properly, right? Exercise. Do not be a couch potato and sleep on couch, because your body is not proportioned properly. So you find when you sleep on the couch, your back is not aligned properly. Get a nice firm, medium firm mattress.
Okay.
Don't sleep on anything that has hips and too soft. Sleep on something firm that can keep your spine and your back aligned. And always stretch to between those joints.
All right, great. So, thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, bye.